Thank you for joining me. I'm Alex, and I would like to talk to you about InMode. So, InMode is a maker of medical devices and treatments. And not to go into too much detail, but they have a lot of stuff that is probably going to be very popular in the future and increasingly popular today. So, the price right now is $22, which is a market cap of $711 million. So this is a very small company. But the PE is 23, which means, first of all, they do make a profit. And second of all, the PE is already fairly high. So the dividend and payout ratio obviously is 0 because it's a very new company, which is also why it's a fairly small company. Revenue of $100 million, which is up 90% from the previous years. So they went from 53 million to over 100 million. So obviously really good growth there. And I think that's sustainable growth for the foreseeable future, like even 5-6 years into the future. Earnings 22 million, which is up 200%, which means they went from over 8 million to 22 million. So very good earnings growth, obviously. I think that revenue and earnings growth are going to be very similar, not necessarily the earnings double the revenue growth, but even 100% earnings growth would obviously be amazing. So total assets 81 million, total liabilities 34 million, both up 100%-ish. And net tangible assets, 42 million, which is also up about 100%. So clearly everything is going into the right direction right now. That doesn't mean it's going to do so in the future, but for now, all the stats look amazing. Now, what they do is treatment and devices for those treatments, for anti-aging, hair removal, a few other things. And if you take everything that they say about their treatment at face value, I think this is going to be a very quickly growing company. I do have my doubts about some of the claims that they're making about the medical treatment because generally minimally invasive procedures, now not invasive, kind of seems like, why didn't anyone else think of that, and how would that work exactly? And obviously all of that is proprietary, so they're not going to tell you about it. But if they're making those claims, then obviously if those claims are not true, that's a huge liability issue. So I'm going to take everything they say at face value for now, and I'm going to watch the stock and see where it develops. So to sum that all up, and obviously for a dividend investor, this is definitely not the stock for you. For a value investor, I think that the balance sheet and the growth looks good enough for a PE of 23. There might be better companies out there to invest in, but I think that obviously the PE of 23, if their revenue and the earnings grow as they are now, then the PE next year is like 12. So definitely would be valuable to at least open a small position here and kind of see where it goes. And the same goes for the growth investors. Revenue growth of 90% is amazing, and you generally don't see that with a company that is this big. Now, I know that market cap of 711 million is tiny in stock market terms, but the kind of revenue and earnings growth you don't see unless it's a very tech-focused company that is at the very beginning and disrupting things. So you probably have to look at very risky business models to see this kind of growth. And so I think that this is pretty much the perfect growth stock to invest in. Everything looks like it's amazing. And the PE of 23 for a growth stock is obviously very, very small. So I assume that it's just because the company is not well known and not talked about on all the stock market channels and everything. So to sum it up, for a dividend investor, this is not the stock for you. For a value investor, I think you should probably open a very small position to see where it goes. And for a growth investor, this is the company that you were looking for, and I think in a diversified portfolio, this stock would definitely make sense to throw in there. That's it for me for today. If you haven't already and you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I'm coming out with more videos every day before market open. I hope you have a successful day.